Okay, so the next thing we'll do now is we'll start setting out some extra wall cladding on this surface of the wall, and what we'll do for that is we'll use some vertical corrugated steel cladding with the corrugations running vertically. They'll be sitting on some wall girts, 150mm Z sections. So if you calculate out all of the thickness of that, the thickness of the cladding then sitting on 150 wall girts coming out to the outside of the cladding will be 178mm from the set out points. So the first thing I'll do, make sure you've changed your drop down layer box so that the current layer is walling, and let's have a set out line 178mm. 178 from that point there, and that'll be the surface of our wall cladding that we'll start to work with. I think I'll come up from that. I'll do another set out line, so I think I'll come up from that set out line there. The height of our concrete tilt up panels were 3600, so I'm trying to come on blue axis here. So when I make sure you've got blue axis happening, I'll do a height of 3500. Now if I just explain what I'm doing here with that, I'll run this wall cladding largely straight across the top of this wall through here. There'll be something else going on down the back you'll see a bit later, but we're setting our wall facing out 178mm off the column, and the concrete tilt up panels are 150mm off the column. So I've allowed a little bit of a 100mm overlap through here. From it might make a nice waterproofing detail that we can flash up a little bit later. So with that on, that would be the surfaces that we're dealing with. I'm going to draw, also I'll come up from the bottom line. I'm going to create a bit of a shape. Rather than take the vertical cladding straight up to under the eaves, I'm going to bring the vertical cladding up vertically for a certain amount, but then I'm going to tip it out at a bit of an angle towards the gutter line to finish it off. And to do that, I might take it vertically straight up to say 5400. So from our bottom set out line once again, I'll come straight vertically up 5400. So that's in the face, in the plane of our cladding. We've got the plane. Let me explain that again. So we've got this set out line 178mm out. That gives us the plane of the cladding. Then I've come 3500 from that set out line up to give me the bottom edge of my sheeting, and then 5400 from that bottom set out line up, and that'll give me the top of my sheeting. So I'm just going to, in the walling layer, I'm just going to start to then draw a vertical line from the set out so that I get the right point in plan, and I'll just bring that vertical line straight up first of all, so I get blue axis happening. Hold the shift key to constrain it to the blue axis, and then click that line, and that'll take that line to that point. I'll keep continuing then, constraining it to the blue axis once again, and click that line. I'm then going to actually delete this bottom edge. We'll end up putting it back in, but you'll get the understanding of the wall shape a bit better if I do that. So that's the distance that I'm going to travel up with my vertical cladding, and I've done all of that at the moment perfectly on that grid line, that set out line. Now I'm going to tip the walling out then, so that it doesn't keep going straight up. I'm going to tip it out so it comes out at a bit of a flaring out angle. I think I might come out to a distance of say 600mm from the column centre line. So I'm grabbing my tape measure once again, and from that point on green axis I'm coming out 600. I then go and pick up my pencil, and I'll go back from this end point, and I'm aiming to come to that intersection of that 600 line with the top of the rafter there. So I can then clean up these set out lines. They will get in your road and you'll start becoming confused if you leave them there. So as soon as you get something constructed, I really suggest that you clean those up. We could probably even, I think, clean up this one down here, so that we don't accidentally snap to something we don't want to. If I was to then take a copy of these two lines now, so if I was to triple click on that, it picks up those two construction lines, and if I was to zoom out then so that I can take a copy So move, press and release control key from this grid line here, come in the red axis direction, get a red rubber band, press and hold your shift key to constrain it, and then send that to this grid line through here. So that's what you've done, is you've created another one out on this plane. I then need to draw a line to close that up, so I'll zoom in on this end point, and then I'll zoom back out right to the other end of the building where we created this other one, and I'll take that to that end point there. So I've created a line between those two endpoints. Rather than keeping on draw lines, I can now select that bottom line and copy it. So move, control key, copy it from that endpoint to that endpoint. This new one is now the active entity, so I'll press and release control again, so I copy it from that point up to, there should be an intersection up here, so where you think this line intersects that face, hover and wait for the end point to come up. It's an end point, not an intersection actually. So that has closed off the shapes. We might have to trace over the top of those lines now, just to finally create the faces. Sometimes it doesn't create a face straight away, so if it doesn't, just trace over the top of one of the lines you've already got. Created that face for me, and then trace over the top of that, created that face for me. Okay, so I think I'll now close off these back two bays. That'll be the dividing wall between the phosphating room. So I'll drop a line down on blue axis, constrain myself by pressing and holding the shift key until it hits that grid line. I'm wondering if I've got enough set out to do that at the other end, which I can come straight across until I hit this grid line now, and then go straight up. So it's not a bad idea to constrain yourself on blue axis, so get the blue rubber band, press and hold the shift key, and then touch that bottom edge. That's filled in that back section of the building then, so I can select that dividing line and delete it. Okay, I might just extend this line here now 200 millimeters into there, because it wouldn't finish directly on that column. So for the moment I think we'll move that edge 200 millimeters across. So I just selected it, then click somewhere out in space with the move command, get a red rubber band happening, and type 200 and press enter. Okay, we'll do something similar to these back edges here, although in class we've worked out that this will actually extend to pick up the extension of the wall sheeting coming across the back of the building by a distance of 280. So I'll actually select those two and then move that in space, get red rubber band happening, and we go 280. I'll do the same thing at the front of the building then, so that we extend that 280. Orbit round, make sure I get it, press and hold the control key to double select entities, and then do that move from point in the red axis direction 280. Okay, so I might just stop the video at that point. We'll come back and finish off a couple of these wall elements and then copy it across to the other side. So we'll do a save at this point and we'll stop the video.